Welcome to your Voice Your Impact show, where authentic voices spark real change and bold conversations lead to lasting impact.
That's right. This is a space where we amplify ideas, celebrate stories, and challenge mindsets, because every voice matters and every story has the power to transform.
Whether you're a dreamer, a doer, a change maker, or someone simply figuring it out, we are here for you. Each week, we bring inspiring guests, thought-provoking conversations, and powerful insights to help you own your voice and leave your impact.
I am the energetic EJ, a life and transformational coach, a podcaster, and an event host. I work with women who are accomplished to turn their success into legacy influence.
Hi, my name is Olawale Afolabi, but many know me as Scott Unlimited. I'm a seasoned compere and orator par excellence, passionate about connecting people through words and purpose. Beyond the mic, I'm a business intelligence professional driven by insight, strategy, and impact.
My name is Grace So Amazing. I am an integrative life coach. I help my clients align their psychological, social, and physical well-being. I am the founder of Friends Lean On Global Foundation, a non-governmental organization that is centered on educating people about mental and emotional well-being. Like,
subscribe,
and share. Welcome. Hello and welcome to your Voice Your Impact show. And we are glad to be back on the show. It's been a while that we did a live session, and we've been doing recordings and, just testing the waters with different things. Plus, then life is happening on its own, and it's just been a lot. But we're grateful to be back, on the show again. So welcome back to the show. I'm going to bring on Gracie. And then we have a very interesting topic to talk about today. Hello, Grace. How are you doing today?
I'm doing amazing. I love your hair.
Thank you very much. How are you doing? How's work? How's family?
Fine. Good to be back live. You know that live thing, the recorded one would record and then post online. But when we come live, it gives me that level of authenticity that, look at me, where if I'm scratching my nose, that's where you see it, and all of that. I like it, and I'm happy to be back.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Gracie. Do you want to do the honors of introducing our guest today?
Yes. Today I am expectant. I'm very happy. We have a super human being as our guest today on the show, and I'll just quickly read his bio. Dr. Benjamin Wayo is a passionate and prolific speaker, author, executive coach, trainer, and facilitator. A three-time West and Central African champion of public speaking, Middle East champion of public speaking, the first Nigerian finalist at the 2020 World Championship of Public Speaking, and an award-winning inspirational speaker slam. He has a firm belief in the power of words to change the world. With over 20 years of experience speaking, teaching, and training with the Excel Family and Youth Development Center, Dr. Ben believes that leaders are made by effort and not by nature. I like that part. He's also a veterinary surgeon, research scientist, a proud graduate of the Better Ways Consultancy Coaching Academy, and the lead facilitator of the Aldrin and Randall School of Leadership and Personal Development. He loves family, children, speaking and connecting with people, and spreading the message of the power of finding our individual voices. He's married to Julie, and they have two wonderful children together. And without much ado, I guess we can bring our guests on the show. Hey, welcome, 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 welcome. I
Thank
love
you
this
very
part.
much.
The part he said, I love family, children, speaking and connecting with people and spreading the message of the power of finding our individual voices. Talk about being on your voice, your impact. Hey.
Thank you
Welcome,
very
sir.
much. Thank you so much. Really a pleasure and an honor to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
We are honored to have you here too, sir. Now, this is your official bio, but if you were to introduce yourself in a very fun way, how would you introduce yourself? Something funny, something, like fun fact that a lot of people don't know about you would be great. But yes, how would you introduce yourself?
Oh Lord, I don't know if I want that to go out. But well, I'm somebody that loves I'm someone that loves speaking. I love people and I love bread.
What type of bread? Agege bread or sliced bread?
Okay, let me make it cut. Bagels and uh, what's that? Croissants. Yes, croissant.
Oh, have you lived in France before?
I'm just kidding. Just your basic everyday bread.
Love it. Lovely. Lovely. I mean,
Thank
bread,
you.
bread connotes a lot of things.
Oh, a lot
Even
of things. I can
a lot
I
of
can preach
things.
a sermon about bread actually.
Aha. Aha.
Yeah, I love bread so much. I'll tell you that it's the only food you definitely find in heaven, since Jesus described himself as the bread that came down from heaven. So that's it.
Very interesting. Very interesting to know. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today. Now, I'm
Thank
going to
you.
go for the jugular and ask first of all, because today's topic is titled or, is inspired by the title of your book. And I want to start from there directly. Like, why? Why? What inspired this name, first of all? Like, why did you pick that name of all names? Because when you see it first, you're like, hello, why should I? So what was the inspiration? Let's just go right in. Let's clear that out of the air, and then we can go ahead with the remaining of the conversation.
All right. Thank you so much. So first and foremost, this happens to be my fourth published book. My first two books were on public speaking. Uh, the third book that I actually released, officially launched publicly as a hard copy. The first two books are actually soft copies. They are not available except online. But the second and third book, rather the third book, which is Born on a Monday. Now, Born on a Monday is a collection of stories, points, tips, and direction, as it were, about work ethic. Now, I happen to have been born on a Monday, very early Monday morning. Yes. And I was also born on the 1st of May, which is Workers' Day. Yeah, big coincidence. And I'm also the kind of person that is very passionate about work and my work. Now, I may not be your typical workaholic, but I'm somebody that is very, very serious about whatever kind of work I'm doing. I love to do it well. I love to distinguish myself in my work. I love to be on time. If I'm doing it, I'm all in. If I'm not doing it, I'm not doing it. So it has been a passion for me to talk about work, even though my laurels, as it were, my trophies, if you like, have been around public speaking. As I joined Toastmasters 2018, I started winning trophies in public speaking, and I've done a lot in that area. And I've spoken also, and I'm still writing books in that area actually. But I have a very, very strong passion about work. So Born on a Monday is something I write every Monday. Like this Monday morning, I released a new edition, or rather a new episode of Born on a Monday. So there's always something I write, very short clips, some stories about work ethic. And work ethics, to me, in the days that we're coming, are declining fast. People don't understand, don't believe in good work. They don't believe in hard work. They keep talking about smart work, and there's nothing wrong with smart work, but even smart work involves hard work. You actually have to work. There is no real achievement in life without putting in some amount of work. People talk about loving the things you do or doing the things you love. And even if you do the things you love, if you're going to continue doing the things you love, you still have to do the things you hate to be able to do the things that you love. It is just the way life is. So work is something that has been declining over the years. And when I wrote Born on a Monday, it was in an effort to inspire a great attitude towards work, towards having great work ethic, having great work attitudes, doing great at your work, being good at what you're doing, being able to relate well with your colleagues, with your bosses, with your clients, everything that has to do with being excellent at the workplace. I believe in being in the top five, top 10% of wherever it is that you're working. If they don't call your name about in the top five or top 10%, then you have a lot of work to do. So when I wrote Born on a Monday, I released it last year on my birthday. This year, I also wrote this because I try to release a book every birthday of mine. And so, walk like a fool until they know you are wise is based on the belief that a lot of people believe that people that are working hard are foolish. People that are investing a lot of their time and their efforts and their mind on a particular line of work, they are foolish, that they don't know what they are doing. They are wasting their time. People that have a dream to be able to change their circumstances, to be able to change their lives, the lives of their families, the lives of their communities, they feel that those people are foolish. In the very first chapter, or in the introduction, we of the book, we talked a little bit about the Rwandan experience. In the Rwandan experience, they had, of course, the Rwandan genocide that led to the murder of almost 1 million people. And when they were trying to solve those problems, when they were trying to get past it, the typical way people do it is set up big courts, try people, and they throw a little bit of reconciliation and do it the, would I call it, the Western way of doing things. But they did not do it that way. They actually went the local way of doing things. They actually had local courts. They actually had neighborhood courts and neighborhood reconciliation. They made sure that they did not separate people. They made sure that they removed certain labels and that they were working consistently towards reconciliation. And today, Rwanda is a huge example of a turnaround because when they were doing those things, people thought they were foolish. They were supposed to go the round of punishing people in a particular kind of way, of executing certain folks, of ostracizing certain people, of just doing things the way most other people would do it. But they didn't do it that way. They went through a route that many people would call foolish. Many people would say that they don't know what they are doing. But today, Rwanda is an example. Of course, they're not perfect. Of course, they have a lot of things to work on and to improve on. But today, you can see that the country itself, the people themselves are experiencing something quite different from what they experienced during the genocide. So, what happens usually is that when someone has a dream, when somebody wants to go somewhere, when someone wants to change their lives, they are considered to be foolish. They seem like they don't know what they are doing. When somebody is working hard, I see this over and over again. A hard worker in the office, they call you Ajayi. They say you're wasting your time. They say you're overdoing it. You shouldn't put in so much effort. And I mean, what is good? My mother always says this: whatever is worth doing well. You don't do anything. There's nothing of quality that comes out without some good work put into it. So the inspiration is for those of us out there that believe that work is good, that work can change not just your life, but the life of your family, your community, and even your nation. Keep working like a fool. Let people keep looking at you like a fool. But one day, they are going to find out that you were wise in the path that you took towards working. That's really more or less the inspiration behind it.
Inspiration. I love it. I love it. And but again, as I listen to you and I hear that is so when they now, because the reason people will say use work to kill yourself now, use work and kill yourself now, where do you draw the line between working, is there a line, basically? Is there a line to cross when it comes to work? Or would that be dependent on the definition of work? What is your definition of work? And is there a line to cross when it comes to work?
Well, definitely there are some lines definitely to cross, and there are some things. In fact, there's in the chapter. Let me see, chapter 7. The title of chapter 7 is the art of strategic disobedience. In other words, it's not every time that you obey what people are telling you to do. There's strategic disobedience. There's a time to actually disobey. There's a time that is right to disobey authorities because authorities are not always right. Sometimes they are wrong. When you blow the whistle on something that is corrupt in your system, you are strategically disobeying because they don't want you to do it. When people are overworking you or they are infringing on your rights as an individual, it's a time for strategic disobedience. We gave the example of Stella Adedavo. Stella Adedavo was a consultant clinician in her hospital, and they brought in the man Sawyer from Liberia who was infected with Ebola. She could see that there was a strong possibility that this man has Ebola, and she knew the consequences. Now, authorities both in Nigeria and Liberia were putting pressure on her to release him. And the right thing to do, you would think, is that you respect the authorities and just let him go. After all, it's not your problem. But she knew the risk it was going to give to the rest of the nation. She knew that professionally it was not right. So she disobeyed those authorities and kept him in the hospital until the test came, and it showed very clearly that he had Ebola. Compare this to people in some nurses, I think, if I'm not mistaken, some professionals, rather not nurses, some health professionals in the USA who also received somebody from Liberia, is somewhere in the US. I can't remember which state in the USA. And they let the man go, gave him a few pills and let the man go. If not for their prompt response later on, that man had Ebola and he could have spread it in that country. Now, the point is this lady saw that there was a problem. She did what was necessary. She disobeyed because it was necessary to disobey. So, yes, there is a line to draw. You're not going to work to kill yourself. You're not going to work under hazardous conditions. You're not going to work where they are infringing your rights or the rights of others. So there's definitely a line to cross. But you see, the sad thing about today is that we've gotten to a place where people don't even want to work at all. As in, people just think. There was someone that was making fun of, I won't call his name, he was making fun of graduates by inviting them for an interview to say that, oh, I can pay you guys, and I didn't go to school. Meanwhile, the platform where he's making his money, that platform was put together by graduates, by those that went to school, by people that worked very hard. So, and he doesn't understand that. I mean, it's great that you didn't go to school and you were able to make something of your life. There's nothing wrong with that. Not all of us have the same path towards success. But the important thing is that hard work is not bad. It is great. It is good. And we are gradually getting to a place where people actually think that distinguishing yourself with good work, with hard work, is a poor thing, and that's the problem. So definitely there's a line to cross. There are some things that should not be done. In fact, we have people that are having burnout these days because of excessive work. And there are statistics on that we even talk about, and how the problems of burnout can creep gradually into a system. So we're not talking about burnout. We're not talking about infringing on your rights. We're not talking about killing yourself. No, we're talking about doing the kind of good work that can distinguish you and make yourself, make your community, make your nation better, because that's what it takes to actually change any kind of system or any kind of person.
I love it. I love it. Love the distinction between good work and just any work or bad work. Because again, that's the line. And we should pay attention not to cross that line, because again, it's at the detriment of those involved. And so I love it. I'm going to pass the mic on to Gracie to take the conversation forward.
Thank you so much. I think this is going to disrupt something inside of me, because, and not just me, I'm hoping that this particular episode gets to the authorities, because what I find compelling about what you just shared is I hear excellence, excellence, and I hear a long-term benefit if people do things excellently. So what that means to me is, for someone that is a hard worker that likes to work excellently, you'd see that if 5 people were doing their jobs excellently, it becomes less work, invariably speaking. Less impute, because everyone is doing what they should do as at when due. So for me, that is beautiful. So what do you have to say around the relationship between lackadaisical work behavior in our society and how it is affecting our growth as a nation? the correlation between lackadaisical work attitude with national growth and transformation.
All right, thank you. So, in the 17 indispensable laws of teamwork, John Maxwell talks about something that I always talk about. He talks about the weakest link. Uh, the strength of any chain is really dependent on the weakest link. So, the weakest link is what will determine whether a chain is strong or not, because the weakest link will be the place where it will break. Now, the illustration is there's an illustration that they always use that is very simple. If you say 5 times 5 times 5 times 5, what do you get? What's that number? 5 times 5 is 25. 25 times 5 is what? I think it's 125. My math can be very, very, very terrible whenever I'm on the spot. So now, if you get that, so you have 5 times 5 times 5, you have that number. Now, if you say 5 times 5 times 3, it significantly reduces. So 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. But 5 times 5 times 3 is now 30. I mean, 25 times 3. Okay, I'm okay. It's not up to 30. Sorry. So
75.
75. Thank you very much. I'm sorry. So it significantly reduces, because if you are the person that is bringing 5, another team member is bringing 5, but then this other team member brings 3, it significantly reduces the results of the team, because somebody is not coming up to par. So everybody is bringing their A game, they're bringing their 5, 5, 5, and we have this great result. But imagine this: if you had 5 times 5 times 10, imagine that. It now goes significantly higher. So it either goes significantly lower because somebody is doing lackadaisical work, which is what we don't want, or it goes extremely high because someone is giving their all and giving even more, giving 110, going 120, 200%, which is what we want. So the truth is that any system is suffering because of the poor work ethic of everyone that is involved inside there. If anybody inside that system has a poor work ethic, it significantly reduces the results of that system, and it goes long term into a nation, not just that particular sector or that particular company or that particular organization, but it goes into the community, goes all the way to the nation. Because the interesting thing about human beings is this: we are habitual by nature. So when you give poor results, or rather you give poor output here in your workplace, most likely when you go to church or to your religious organization, you also give something similar. You wouldn't really give your best. You're habitual in the way you give your results. So the great results you give here are the great results you give somewhere else. Some people actually think that they don't do very well because they don't pay them well. Well, the bad habits you acquired when you are being paid a lower wage, you will carry it over when you are paid a bigger wage. It's not a matter of time, because you are habitual by nature. So this is the crux of the matter, that we are constantly bringing ourselves to a place where we are average and not excellent as a nation. If you look at these particularly Asian tigers in Asian nations, where we're talking about maybe Singapore, you're talking about Malaysia, Indonesia, or you go to South Korea, you go to Japan, the work ethic in these places, oh my goodness, what they intended to do to be able to turn around their nation, the kind of work they put into. In Japan, they had a word that they call kaizen. Kaizen is the extra to a work. Do we have a word like kaizen in our languages, in our pidgin English, in our local languages? Do we have a word like kaizen? Kaizen means what's the extra. So what does it mean? You say, I'm doing this work, but what is the extra? What is the extra in this work that I can give? What can I use to make it more excellent? So they have a word like that, so that it informed their work ethic and made them do things so differently. And we're talking about Japanese cars today. We're talking about South Korean cars today. We're talking about Chinese cars and technology today because of the kind of work ethic. They say that in New York, the New York minute is 8 seconds. The New York minute is not 60 seconds. The New York minute is 8 seconds. In other words, we're not going to do things in 60 seconds for you. When we tell you a minute, we don't really mean 60 seconds. We mean we're going to do it in 8 seconds. Now, somebody that wants to work that fast, that quickly to change things, my goodness, that person is going to change their society. I mean, think about it. When people are responding to the 911 calls, the average response time is actually anywhere between 9 to 20 minutes. We have certain cities and towns where their response, that's in the United States of America. You have certain places, towns, where their response time is as low as 2 minutes. So when you're making a 911 call for the fire service, you're making a 911 call to the police, we have some people that respond as quickly as 2 minutes, some 9 minutes. But when you have that kind of response, that kind of passion to respond to an emergency, that's excellence at play. That's excellence at play. And if excellence is at play in that area, when somebody does what they need to do to save my life, to save my family, to save my home, I am going to do my best to also save them when the time comes, when the time comes for me to do so also. So when they come to my desk, to my office, I'm going to remember that this fellow did something, made sure that he was dressed up in 2 minutes so that he can get to my house to save my house from a fire. And I'm going to do my best to make sure that I give him the best I can. So it affects every single aspect of society that we are not giving our best, when we are not working excellently. It affects everything and eventually brings us down as a nation. My people, we are suffering in this country. We have become the laughing stock of the African nations. I mean, Africa is making fun of us. It is, they couldn't say things about us some 20, 30 years ago, but now they are they're calling us Uzbekistan. They are making fun of our money and all manner. I say it's crazy that African countries that we helped are making fun of us today in Nigeria, in case whatever it is you're watching from. But the point is this: everybody can work, and if you can work, you can change your life. Anyone can work, and anyone can do good work. And it doesn't even start from doing maybe excellent work like someone else that has been doing for a long time. It just starts from being willing to do the work, and then willing to improve on the work over time. And it can change not just your life, but your community, your family, your community, and your nation.
I don't know, EJ, over to you, because I'm scanning my brain. And Grace, where have you not been putting your best
I
forward?
love, what you said earlier on is saying that how you do one thing is how you do everything. And that's why I said it's habitual. If you're a chronic latecomer, it doesn't matter. If you
Hmm.
live close to the office, you will still be late. If you live far, you
Very
still
true.
be late.
Very true.
Because how you do one thing is how you do everything. And I think I've heard that before, and I think the very first time I heard it, I was like, oh, no, 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 no. It depends. I kind of like, no, I didn't agree. But the more I thought about it, I'm like, actually, this is absolutely true. And it begs for us to pay attention to see, okay, what am I doing repeatedly
Hmm.
that is stifling my results, that is taking me farther away from who I want to be, that is impeding on the vision that I have for my life, my work, my family, right? What are those things that I'm repeatedly doing so that I can deal with them? And I think that's very important when you now look at it in the in the with the lens of work. It's like, okay, so it's not as much as it is about, sometimes not about just where you are and what you do, but how you do it, and with the intention and the intentionality with which you do it. But as you talk about work and good work and how it's important, and how nowadays, like, people don't really want to work. We want to, you know, there's a Yoruba saying. I'm not Yoruba, but I grew up in Lagos, where sometimes the adage will just come into my head, and that's how I can capture the thought of the moment is, and the thoughts just flew away. Anyways, in trying to explain
It
the
happens.
thoughts flew away.
It happens.
Isn't that wonderful?
Don't worry, it will come back to you.
Oh my goodness. But anyway, as we were talking about work and all of that, I'm just wondering. And the reason I'm saying this is, with when you explained the importance of doing good work and versus just opposing that the people just want to get things easy nowadays. And right now, kind of say, it's Gen Z, but honestly speaking, is it only really Gen Z? Is it only Gen
Mm,
Z? We have 45-year
mm,
old men that don't want to work. They also sit
yes.
and get playing pool and watching TV. Even to do
Yeah.
house chores. Okay, you don't have work now, we understand.
Yeah.
They do house chores. Yeah? No, you just want to be the head and stay and what you know. So it's not a Gen Z thing, like you said.
Yeah.
It's a mindset thing, you know.
Mhm.
But even at that, is there are also the spaces where tell me about when it comes to the difference between excellent work and criticism, or the thin line between that and toxicity. Let me put it that way.
Mm.
Because
Mm.
when you're doing excellent work, you're trying to put your best. Like you said, Kaizen, what's the extra on this? But then the environment you belong to, that is like they are shoving that extra down your throat.
Mm.
And it is breaking you some way, mentally, physically, overwhelmed, draining. How do we balance it? How do we
Mm.
create harmony between excellence and is it toxicity? I'll call it when it comes to work.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that is a problem really, and it's one of the objections I always get whenever I'm talking about work and doing great work. A lot of people have a problem with the kind of toxicity. In fact, there's whenever I'm talking about work ethics, there's one of the things I talk about. I talk if you're a top performer, one thing you have is initiative. If you're a top performer, the top performers always have initiative. But a lot of people, when I'm giving that training or coaching or you know, they were like, no, they don't want to show initiative because the more initiative you show, the more they pour work on you. You're showing initiative, they will just continue. So you just keep quiet and just be average so that they don't disturb you. So there's that thing about toxicity. There's that thing about keeping work on you. And when people realize that you're great at something, they continue to throw work at you without a plan to actually distribute the work to others. Especially because they find out that in other people they're not going to get the kind of results that they want. Some are appreciative, some are appreciative, but some are just toxic. They just don't care because they just want their results. This particular lady, I think I shared that in the book also, can't remember which chapter, but she had a problem in her workplace where her immediate supervisor was very tough on her, very, very tough on her. She was criticizing her work consistently, always demanding excellence from her, but not necessarily showing the same towards other colleagues. So she felt like the woman was picking on her, probably because she was a woman also. Women are supposed to be supporting women, but some women are just not, she just kind of like felt, what's wrong with this woman? And she confronted her one day. And when she confronted her, the woman told her that, look, we are the only two women in this place. And you and I know that we as women don't go far without excellence. And if I don't push you to be excellent, you are not going to survive in this place. And worse than that, when you leave this place, you're not going to be better than how you came. So I'm going to push you so that you can be excellent. And when she thought about it, she realized that it was true. Even though it looked like the person was being hard on her, the person was actually pushing her to be better than how she was. And when she was leaving that workplace, the woman wrote a very glowing reference for her that allowed her to get a better job somewhere else. So she was actually supportive. So you do have people like that. So you have to make a distinction. Be very careful to not assume that simply because somebody is being tough on you, they are being hard on you for no reason. You have to know the distinction because you need to improve. Many of us don't realize that we need to improve. And unfortunately, the unfortunate thing about the work atmosphere, you'd hear founders, you'd hear CEOs, you'd hear managers say this over and over again. If you're not tough on staff, they are not going to perform well. They are going to steal, they are going to be lazy, you have to now become some kind of Godzilla before they actually respect you and do what they're supposed to do. And it's unfortunate. Of course, not everybody has the great leadership skills necessary to be able to churn out great results from people. So people, the default mode is just to become tough or hard, even into an unreasonable extent. So, but I always tell workers to be very careful to know the difference between somebody that's just being toxic and someone that is pushing you towards improvement. Because we do have those people in the workplace that realize that you're not really up to par and they really need to push you towards excellence. So make a distinction between those kind of people. But at the same time, you do have people that are just basically just throwing work at you. Just they don't care. They just want their results. We've seen it in the banking sector where we have people that have committed suicide because of the pressure that they are feeling in work. because of those kind of targets that are set for them. And they say all kinds of hurtful things. I remember somebody sharing once, he was in a meeting, I think one of their review meetings at the end of the week or so. And when he was presenting his results, his boss was saying to him, "Is this the kind of results you take to your wife and children at home and say that you're a man? You say you're a man, and these are the kind of results. Is this how you go home and say you're a man?" I mean, she brought a personal issue into a workspace in the name of trying to be tough, and that's being toxic. And he had to confront her. He confronted her later on and said, "Madam, I respect you. I appreciate what you're trying to do, but please don't bring my family into discussions about work. You can even insult me, but don't bring my family into it." So we do have those scenarios where people are under all kinds of pressure. But I always like to ask you one question. What is your vision? What is your target? What do you want to achieve in the place that you're working in? You know, one of my mentors said this. He said that your career is not what you're doing. Your career is what you can do on your own after you stop working. So your career is not just what you're doing. It's what you can actually do on your own once you stop working. So you say you're a banker, you have a banking career. Can you continue banking when you stop working? He said that's not really a career. In other words, in fact, what he was pushing to was like, can you start another bank? Maybe you stop working for this bank. Can you open a bank? Can you fund a bank, or can you move it forward, as the case may be? So the point is this: what is your goal? What's your target? What are you trying to achieve in that workplace? I normally tell people, you shouldn't just work in a place. You should also be able to know how that place works. You should be able to create another system, maybe a better system than the one that you're working. Don't just think like a staff. Think like the CEO. What is the responsibility? What can I do to create a system like this? Because when you don't do that, you're not thinking responsibly. The pressure of the CEO is different from the pressure of the employee. So the employee can learn the pressure of the CEO by thinking like the CEO, thinking about the responsibilities of the CEO. So when you do that, you put yourself under more pressure and you put yourself under more work. And so when somebody is throwing toxic work at you, you're going to be asking yourself, what's my goal here? I want to be able to create this system when I leave this place. So I'm going to bear with this toxicity. I'm going to rub it off my shoulder and continue. Now, there is an extent that is just too harsh. I mean, there is a place where toxicity is just too high. I always advise people leave that place. Your mental health, your sanity, your happiness is far more important than a salary. It is not going to be great for you one day to consider suicide because of your work. That's a place you shouldn't be working. If you're under that kind of pressure that you actually want to end it all, that's not a place you should be working. That's not a place you should be working. No matter how much they're paying you, it's somewhere you need to leave immediately. So there is an extent where you cannot take it. Please leave. Have the courage to walk out and leave that place. Some people are working in certain places because of the money, because they need to take care of their mother, their family, their children, etc. And so they bear it. But please, put a time limit on what you're bearing, okay? And that time limit is what allows you to know what's your vision, what's your goal. I'm going to work for this number of years so that I can raise this amount of money so that I can leave and do this. I'm going to work for this number of years so that I can get the experience necessary to also start a similar business, a better business, so that I can treat my staff better than the way this person is treating me. What is your goal? What's your target? Because you can't learn from outside. You actually learn from inside. Yes, from outside, there are some things you can learn, but you actually learn a lot more when you're inside. You're there. When they drop you in the middle, you can make a ripple effect. So you learn better that way. So make what's your target? What's your goal? What are you trying to achieve? It can help you bear a lot of burdens. It can say, bring on the work, because it's only a matter of time. In fact, somebody shared this recently. Her boss was always giving her work, or to try to give her some extra work. She said, no, that's not I don't do this kind of work. No, that's not my specification. No, I'm not supposed to be doing this. And the boss said, no problem. And she gave it to somebody else. Eventually, that person became more experienced than her because she could do her work and the work of other people. And when it was time for promotion, who did they promote? They didn't promote her. They promoted the person that had extra skills and extra abilities. So it does happen in the workplace that it's not every time that the pressure is negative. Sometimes pressure is meant to create diamonds. It takes some kind of pressure to create diamonds. And it may be that pressure that is necessary to bring out the diamond in you. But like I keep saying, if it gets to a point where it's crushing you, where it's really destroying you, it's a place you should leave. Your health. I mean, you're just sick every time because of how much work you're doing. You need to stop. You need to take a break. You need to rethink that work. Because if you die today, your work continues. I mean, the world is not going to stop. They are going to keep moving on. So, but there is a limit. We have to understand where that balance is so that we know the difference between doing great work and being toxic or being too hard on ourselves or even somebody being too hard on us. Thank you.
I love it. Oh, so good, so good. Before I pass on the mic, right? So when you talk about that, thank you for clarifying that. And I want you to speak to those who I feel like it's a cultural thing, especially in Nigeria, because this is what we've grown to see, even in our parents. It's like if it was hard for me, it must be hard for you too. I cannot give it to you soft if I got it hard. So can you speak to those? Like, do you think that communication is good? I know that it's good for us to be able to discern, right? To
Mm,
discern
mm,
when somebody is pushing us to greatness and when they are
mm,
pushing us to our death, like
mm,
literally, right?
mm.
But on
Very
the
true.
other side of the pusher, because they want to turn themselves to truck pusher now, right? On the other side of the truck pusher, is it important for people like that to find a way, maybe not explicitly, because I also know the if you look at the case of parents and children, right, sometimes you
Mm,
want your kids to learn experientially, so you don't tell
mm,
them, you tell them, even a baby, you tell them, don't go there. No, you want to go there, you have touched the fire now. By the time you touch it, that lesson is learned for life, right?
mm.
So there's a
Yeah.
space for that. But then there is people who is it important? Like if you look at parenting, it's a little bit of a different dynamic. But the people who are pushing, can they be more expressive in letting the person know? Does it help?
Yes.
Or is it okay to
Yes.
just be in CID mode and just be pushing, pushing, pushing until this person doesn't even know
Like,
that you're trying to push me to greatness, so and then they lose it or something? Please.
yes, yes, yes. Even the Bible says that parents should not, push their children to discouragement. Because if you're overly hard on them, they become eventually discouraged. They don't get it. And there are times people will not get it. And it's one of the reasons why we must always seek to improve our leadership skills. Every single person, no matter where you're working, as a supervisor, as a CEO, it's important that you improve your leadership skills. You shouldn't just be somebody that's just looking for results. Results are fantastic. Results distinguish us. Results are the reason why some of us are able to have a paycheck and go home and make a living and save lives, etc. So results are very important. Please don't underestimate results. I in no way underestimate results. But it's also important that we check where those results come from and improve how those results come. So it's important to improve on your leadership skills. And when you improve on your leadership skills, you actually improve on your communication skills. You know how to say what is necessary. You know how to hold back certain words. You know when to tell a person to be compassionate. You know when to coach. You know when to be tough. You know when to be soft. You know when to actually communicate with words, sometimes with your actions, sometimes with gifts, so that people don't just assume. They will not assume or guess what you're trying to do. They will know, they will be crystal clear about what you're trying to do because you are a refined leader that has improved on their leadership skills. There are bosses that just know how to get the best out of you without being excessively harsh on you. They know when to be tough, but at the same time, they know how to talk to you properly. They don't have to insult you. They don't have to call you names, and they inspire you to do great work. But there are some bosses that just keep talking and keep pushing. Those guys sometimes they don't. They come from a place of ignorance where they don't know that there's a different way to do this and there's a better way to do this. Sometimes they're not being mean just for the sake of being mean. They're under the pressure of results also, and they want to get great results out there. That's okay. But what is not okay is that you will eventually lose those that are under you. You will get them discouraged. You will lose them eventually because not everybody understands what you're trying to do. Sometimes you need to be expressive. You need to. That's why you really need to improve your leadership skills. And by your leadership skills, also your communication skills, your interpersonal skills, to allow you to be able to train and coach your people properly, to let them get what you're trying to do. And when they are clearer about that, it becomes easier for them to align and to follow you. Because honestly speaking, it's something that we keep talking about. One of the greatest organizations where you see people work willingly, consistently, very, very hard, and go over and above what is demanded of them is in volunteer organizations. Volunteer organizations do this over and over again. We're talking about religious organizations, we're talking about charity organizations, we're talking about organizations like Lions Club, like Rotary Club, like Toastmasters, people go over and beyond. People do things ordinarily that they would not do, but they volunteer to do it. In other words, what you can volunteer, if you can, a leader that can inspire people to actually volunteer to do something, you can get them to do much more than if you force them to do it. Now, it's not magic because there are scenarios. There's a reason why this happens. There's a mindset people have towards the work that they are doing, towards their religious organizations, and towards their workplace. And there's what you need to do as a leader to inspire them, to show them, to create trust, and so on and so forth. But it just shows that the leader that is able to inspire people to actually do something willingly is in a better position to get them to do better work than those that are forced or pushed and so on. But like we keep saying, I mean, results are necessary. I mean, you have to get those results out there. There's nothing you can do about it. And because of that, people actually default, just keep getting towards the toughness. But you don't have to do that. You can always improve. There is always a place of improvement. And, I always like to address the issue of the kind of people that say, okay, things were tough for me, therefore they must be tough for you. There was a lecturer of mine that visited the United States for sabbatical. And before that time, before he visited the for that sabbatical, if you are late for his lecture, you can't enter his class. Who are you? If you're late, you must just be outside and wait till he finishes or whatever, and then look for mercy. But he went I think to Canada, if I'm not mistaken, and the students were coming in late. Some of them will come to him and tell him, sir, I don't think I'm ready for your test on so and so. We have to just schedule another test. Just please let's get another date for that. I don't think I'm going to be ready for your test. And he was in shock. Students can actually demand for a different time. I mean, who are you in Nigeria to ask for a different time for a test? Are you okay? So he actually experienced a different atmosphere, a different scenario, and he realized that even though these people were working the way they were working, they were still bringing great results. They were actually doing much more than his students were doing. In fact, he realized that there was a problem with the way he treated students. So by the time he came back to Nigeria, when students saw you, they were late and they didn't want to come in, and they were trying to go back. He said, no, 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 come in, come in, come in, come in, all of you, come in, come inside. He changed dramatically because he knew that he was not even getting the results he thought he was getting. So sometimes we need to be exposed to different atmospheres. Sometimes we need to read a little bit more. Sometimes we need to just look around the world and ask ourselves the question, with all the toughness that we are carrying out here, why are we not getting the kind of results that somebody else that is being softer somewhere is getting? I mean, what is Apple getting? What's the revenue in Apple? What's the revenue in Facebook? What's the revenue in Microsoft? Are they working the way they are working in your local banks? Are they insulting people left, right, and center? And don't get me wrong, some of them do. It's not I mean, we do have toxic people everywhere, worldwide. That's the truth. It's not a secret. It's a fact. But the point is this: if people are actually thinking about better work conditions, they're talking about reducing stress, reducing toxicity, reducing burnout, and so on and so forth. You should also think about the same. And just because you suffered doesn't mean everybody else should suffer. I mean, what's the worth of your suffering if we can't improve on it? So that's really what I think.
Thank you so much. I love your responses. Over to you,
You're welcome.
Gracie.
Well, that lecturer learned the hard way. He learned and he said, wow. And I think, oh God, when you were speaking, I was just asking, because one thing I learned, especially with what we do at Your Voice, Your Impact. Hello, everyone. I'm sure people will see this later. If you're not here right now watching it live, I'm sure you're going to see this later, and would love to hear your comments. Would love to hear what you think about the conversation we're having right now, because I'm being transformed just listening to Dr. Wayo. Thank you so much for the nuggets. And there's a principle in physics, that talks about commensurate input and output. And we joke, when I belong to a group where when we're talking about hard work, they'll say, come, you don't see bricklayer they work before. You go no say, no, if I hard work. All right, so that's on a lighter note. So I know people that are genuinely hard workers, but they are sad because the input isn't giving them the output. There is some level of imbalance. And, you know, you find these people almost getting into depression and saying that, look, and it doesn't matter if they are working for an organization. For some of them, it might just be that they are working for themselves. And, you know, some people, they're working in an organization where they're really doing the work, you know, but the output, the result is not commensurate to what they're putting in. What do you think is the problem? And how do you think that such issues can be resolved?
Yes, this is very, very important. In fact, there's a place you get to. There's work you can do that looks as if it's completely fruitless and unfruitful. And there are many sides to look at this. It could be that you invested in a skill that eventually expires and is no longer relevant in the field. I think once upon a time, before they invented refrigerators that could produce ice and so on, people used to import ice. They used to take ice, they go far, they go on a ship, import ice, actually carry ice on ships and import them, carry them long distances to places and sell them. Of course, by the time refrigerators were created, there was absolutely no need for that. You don't need to ship ice from far places from one place to the other. A machine can produce it for you. So that person now becomes irrelevant. The person that built his life around shipping ice from one place to the other. And today we're seeing it happen every day with AI, with computers, with different kind of skills here, where it looks at you learn something, and eventually in a short period of time that work that you did or what you learned becomes irrelevant. So there's a saying. We had the Better Work conference on 1st of May, in the first day, the day that I actually launched my book. And the Better Work conference is actually centered around getting better work, getting people to work better. And when I was talking about the conference, I said there's something Alvin Toffler said. It's a very famous statement, that the illiterate of the 21st century is not going to be the person that can't read and write. The illiterate of the 21st century is not that person that can't read or write, but the person that is not able to learn, unlearn, and relearn. So you have to be a person that is learning, unlearning, and relearning. It becomes a necessity, and that is, my friends, another kind of work. So you want to do this simple work where you're a hand crafts person and you're creating certain crafts, and now maybe there's one industry that was created somewhere in China that makes your handcraft completely useless because that is cheaper and more useful and people want it. They don't care about your craft. You have to be that person that knows how to learn, unlearn, and relearn. Maybe you can create a foreign market for your handcraft. Maybe people don't know about you around the world, and so maybe you can even charge more for your handcraft because some people appreciate handcrafts more than machine crafts. Maybe what you need to do is learn a different and a new skill other than what you learned earlier, because we're in the age and time where you must learn, unlearn, and relearn. A man called Colonel Sanders was in his 60s and a grandfather to a granddaughter. And he said, I'm going to die soon and I don't have anything to give to this. So he had worked. He had worked all his life in his 60s and he had nothing to give to his granddaughter. And she had nobody else. Her parents were not there. He was the only parent that she had. And he said, if he dies today, what is he going to give to his daughter? And this is his granddaughter. I mean, this is a saddening thought. When you think about it very carefully, what are you going to leave for your children, for your nieces, for your nephews, for the people around you, for your community? When you go through a street and maybe you see a lot of street children, and you know that if those street children are not well taken care of, it's only a matter of time. In another 5, 10, 15 years, those children are not going to be begging. They might become criminals because there's nothing that was done for them. So what are you going to hand over to them? So this man, Colonel Sanders, asked himself the question, and outside of his work, he said, I can make chicken. I have great chicken recipes. And he began to trade that. He went up and down trying to sell it, up and down trying to. I mean, it's a famous story. All of us know it. And he was rejected over and over again until he could actually start a business. And today we have KFC all over the world. The man is long gone. His daughter, his granddaughter has more than enough. So some of us have the secret to the future, but we have to learn, unlearn, and relearn. And I don't want us to be emotionally attached to any skill that we have, because sometimes we're unnecessarily emotionally attached to one particular skill. Oh, I'm a banker. Oh, I'm an accountant. Oh, I'm this. You can learn, unlearn, and relearn. My mentor keeps saying this. He says this a lot. He said that, "Yeah, a doctor, fine, but how much money are you making?" Say, how much money? At the end of the line, there's a bottom line to almost anything. And as even though money is not everything, money is so important for so many things. So how can you make money? Yeah, you're a doctor, but how can you make more money? Because he says this a lot. He said expenses don't rest, so income should not rest. Expenses don't rest, so income should not rest. So you have this line of income and you're not making enough money. So create another line of income. That you can only do that if you're learning, unlearning, and relearning. And you'll be surprised that your skill in this area can augment your skill in another area. As a veterinarian, as a veterinary surgeon, you know, my capacity in research and development has helped me to be a better speaker and a better trainer and a better coach. So even though I have a career in this area, being able to build a speaking career, a writing career has created extra streams of income for me. So if I just said, oh, veterinarians are not paid well in Nigeria, I have to go to Canada, I have to go to UK or else I'm finished. And I now get depressed because I can't do this, I can't do that. No, I have to learn, unlearn, and relearn. I have to learn, unlearn, and relearn and find where to do something better. Now, sometimes it's not even about abandoning what you do. Sometimes in the learning that you do, you can create something unique in that same area. There's a wonderful woman on social media, Choma Ifeanyi Eze. She's an accountant and she shares a lot of business tips. And most of what she does stems from accounting because she has an accounting background and she knows the importance of accounting. And she still makes money every day through accounting. And she talks about it regularly. But you see, regular accountants don't even understand what she's doing or are not creative in that area that she's doing. They don't realize that they have so much knowledge and so much expertise that they can create the kind of products she's creating also because they're accountants. But she has found a niche for herself, and she's creating more and more value and making more and more money from being able to be still an accountant, nothing extra, still an accountant, but also a business person and augments and still be better. So it may not really be about abandoning what you're doing. Sometimes you don't need to abandon. No, sometimes you just need to keep doing what you're doing over and over again. Keep working and keep getting better, even if the results are not showing. Sometimes it's as you grow older, as you're learning and unlearning and relearning, that you begin to realize that you can actually do better. So there's the in the book, I have 10 chapters, chapter 1 to 10, but there's chapter half, and then there's chapter 10 and a half. Now, chapter 10 and a half is a fool at 40 when it's too late for success. And a lot of people are at that place when they feel like it's too late for success. Oh, I'm 40 already. I have nothing. I shared how I was 40 when I arrived at 40 and I didn't have a car, I didn't have my own property. There's so many things I didn't have. It was depressing. Many people didn't know I was 40. I think when I was 42 or 43 and I was celebrating, some people thought I was 40 then, but I was already long gone, because I didn't achieve as much as I thought I was supposed to achieve. And I was at a place where it looked as if I was a failure. But it is in those seasons that I was investing in my speaking craft. And I've not even scratched the surface of what I can do in speaking, in coaching, in training, in being an author, and so on. I'm still beginning, but it's already creating an income and it's making things better for me. So the point is this: it's not too late for you. What you need to do is learn, unlearn, and relearn. Keep reading, keep thinking. There may be some things you may need to leave. In fact, there are some jobs you need to leave. You may need to actually have a career change. But even if you're 50, even if you're 60, I can assure you, even if you're retired, you can have a career change. It may be difficult. Yes, it will be difficult because you're not a young person. But you see, you have more experience. You're not going to waste energy on things that you don't know how to do. You have more experience. You know the things that you know your strengths, you know your weaknesses. And if you have the right attitude, you can actually build something that is lasting, that is better. And in 10 years, 20 years, you could be the next Colonel Sanders, creating changes around the world. It's very, very, very possible. So it's true that you worked hard in one area. You did a lot and you're not seeing the results. Okay. Okay. Can you still hear me? Because I think I freeze a little bit. All right. All right. So it's true that you worked hard and you didn't see the results. But honestly speaking, any investment you make in an area of learning over time, it sits with you, it compounds, it becomes expertise. You'll be surprised what you can do with it one day. Many people have studied biochemistry, chemistry, physics in school. I say it's useless. I didn't learn anything. No, no, no. Even if you think you learned nothing and you didn't use anything, you learned how to learn. School taught you how to learn. And there's a discipline that is inside you that you can use to advance yourself and your community much further down the line. So don't be depressed. It's easy to be depressed. I mean, I was there. I was at that point where it looked as if I had worked so hard and I was not getting anything out of it. Maybe I didn't make the right investments. Maybe I went the wrong way. Maybe I didn't do what I was supposed to do. No, no, no. What you should do is settle down, learn, unlearn, and relearn. You can actually restart a career. 10 years will arrive whether you like it or not. You say 10 years is far, but 10 years will arrive. And you say, I might die. You might not die. If you don't die, you'll be there 10 years later. And so what? You need to start a degree. In 10 years, you can finish several degrees. You want to do a PhD, maybe you need to get that PhD. You want to do a certification course, maybe you need to get it. You say, oh, I'm too old. No, no, no. Another 5 years will arrive. You might die, oh, but you might not die. And if you don't die, you will suffer for not dying. So what you should do is make that investment. I remember somebody that was a medical laboratory technician, I think, in my university. In my second year, I think, yeah, in my second year, I met him as a technician. In my second year, he wrote jam and started from 100 level. He wrote jam. He was a medical technician. He was not a single man. He was married with children. He wrote jam, started from 100 level. We graduated the same year because I had an extra year in school. We graduated the same year and he made it. He became a doctor. So from technician, he told himself, even though I'm married with children, it's not too late for me. I'm going to start all over again. I'm going to write Jambo, not direct entry, from 100 level all the way. Graduated. A year later, he got a job, and he bought a Jeep almost immediately. Because anybody can change their life if you can put to it. It's hard. It's not easy. No, I'm not saying it's easy. It's definitely hard. But don't be looking at the past. Don't look at what you've lost. Look at what you've gained. Learn, unlearn, and relearn. And you can make the best use of your skills. Learn new skills and move your life forward. Thank you.
Ah, okay. A champion for a reason. A world champion for a reason. You didn't
Thank you.
stutter. The thing was just flowing like tap. He dey rush, where, he dey rush. I gotta make my tap, he dey rush. The words are just coming. Like, what is this? So are you a man of
Thank you.
God? Because we can listen to
I'm
you
not a
through.
man of the devil. I'm not a man of the devil. So, so I'm the
Let me rephrase my question. Are you a minister?
well, you can call me a lay preacher, maybe. Yeah, maybe you
I
can do that.
love it. You are really, really good at what you do. You're such an amazing orator. Like we could listen to
Thank you.
you for like we'll just be listening and it's just flowing, no stutter. It's like just going. But I want to ask you, this was not even related to what we're saying, but honestly speaking, from the moment I saw your name and your bio and you created the creative for this, I was just wondering, and I'm like, I won't let this question go. It's trivia, but I won't let it go. Like, how did you cope? Because you grew up in Nigeria, right?
Yes.
Unless the children of then, they are very nice. But how did you cope with this, your last name? Did
I
they taunt you
embraced
with
it.
it?
I embraced it. I embraced it full blast. Oh my goodness. I can't tell you, when people make jokes till tomorrow about my name, they'll be like, why you are we safe? And they would all start laughing. I have heard it all my life ever since I was a boy. These are dry dad jokes for me. I've been hearing it all my life. So what did I do? I embraced it very, very early. And there's a very beautiful history behind my name, actually. So my great grandfather, it's actually a family name. It was from my great grandfather. And in those early days, they were he was one of the first, well, some of the few people that were having interactions with merchants and traders. We were mostly Hausa people. So I'm from Kaduna State. I'm from the Ham tribe. If you've heard of Nok culture, if you heard of Nok terracotta, so I'm from Nok itself. That's the village I'm from. So we're called Ham people, and we're quite ancient, of course, and all that. But we are not as we didn't encounter whether it was the Hausa or the British very early. So in those early days when they were meeting with traders, etc., they found out that this guy is very sharp. It was difficult to, pull a fast one on him. You couldn't, you always get his good deals as well. Like, get out the wayo. Which means in Hausa, it simply means you're smart, you are wise. Okay. So in Nigeria colloquialism, we have this thing about, oh, wayo means you're a cheat or you're a thief, all that rubbish. It's the original wayo is in Hausa and it means that you are wise. That's what it means. Wise, wisdom. You're smart, you're wise. In Hausa language, there are words for being a cheat, there are words for being cunning or a crook, and all that. Other words for that. But wayo simply means that you're wise. So all the other meanings in your languages, they are not very accurate, I must assure you, because you got it all from the Hausa language. So very early, knowing the history, knowing that we're from a bunch of smart people, we're from a line of intelligent people, I embrace the name fully. My name is Wayo, and it's unforgettable. When you hear it, you can't forget it. So I've forgotten loads of people all through school, all through life, but they remember me because of my name. So it's working very fine for me. So I'm very happy with it. Thank you.
I love it. Honestly, what I hear from this, I was having a conversation yesterday after church with somebody who was also talking about, we as Africans, especially even Nigerians, like the way that
Mm,
we're gradually losing our culture and losing our history, our ancestral history. Like, so most
yes,
people don't know about their family trees, and so
yes.
it's we're gradually, and that's easy for people. It's easy for you to lose your identity just like that because you don't know that. And he was telling us a story where he knew who he was. His father told him the son of who he is, so he knew who he
Mm,
was. That's he said one time when he was young, he was trying to toast one babe, and then he went to the girl's house, and then the father told him like, Omotanye, in Yoruba, like, whose son are you?
mm,
But he was like, the way
mm,
he said, there's a difference between saying, whose son are you? Like, who's your father? Versus,
mm,
whose son is this? He said,
mm,
I know who I am. You cannot come
mm.
and ask me like whose son are you? He said in that moment he decided like, nah, that tone I don't like it because you're making me feel like I'm not worthy of your daughter. So I'm far with
Mm,
that.
mm.
Daughter is not worthy of me. And he said, even though
Wow.
the girl's brother was his best friend, he cut off from everything that has to do with that family because I'm like, so when you say this now and your name, I'm like, it's so good to know where you're from. It's so good to know
Very
your
true.
history because no matter what anybody says about it, when it's you just laugh about it. It's not it
Yeah,
doesn't hurt you anymore. Like it's like, oh, it's
exactly.
it's on you. The joke is on you. You don't know what it means. I know what my name means, so
Exactly.
you can laugh at it, but it's okay. So really, really,
Very
I'm
true.
glad I let it off my because I've
Thank
been
you.
thinking about it. Like, I know mischievous stress. Should I step on this school student? Very mischievous. They would have called you all sort of names, and I'm wondering.
Yes.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank
It's
you.
been a
Thank you.
pleasure having you on the show. And
Thank you so
Grace
much.
can tell you, I told her I haven't slept for 24 hours. I'm like, you know what, I can't do this. She's like, no, 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 we're not just find a way on the camera. And this is my, you see, no matter how I might off this mic now and I'll be down
Yes.
and out. But the moment I'm on this mic, you know, burn me well, it will rise again. So find
You're
that
meant
one
to do
thing
it.
that is yours and own it. And I love
Yes.
what you said about learning, unlearning, relearning, and it never
Yes.
stops. So that we can reinvent ourselves. So age is no longer a barrier. Language is no longer a barrier. Our last show we had it with a Yoruba person, even though we're not our Yorubas were everywhere, but we had a very, very deep and insightful conversation. So again,
Mm,
it's just about knowing that thing that works for you and staying with it and improving on it as you grow. And I think I really learned a
mm,
lot from our conversation today, especially about work and distinguishing, good work, toxic work, but also understanding that work and hard work does not always guarantee result. But when
very
the
true.
result is not coming, then you need to draw back and pay attention. Am I doing the right work? Am I doing it the right way? Do I need to pivot? Do I need to upgrade? Do I need to
Mhm.
change? And it's just a whole lot of moving parts, but it's been an amazing conversation with you. Thank you so much.
Thank
Grace,
you.
what's your word? And then
Thank you.
we can begin to wrap this up. It's been a fantastic session.
I'm running away with what I've learned from Dr. Wayu today, and it's going to be a moment of soul searching for me, and I would ask myself critical questions around my work ethic and what I need to do moving forward. And I'm hoping that someone will watch this maybe 10 years from today, and it would help them readjust, realign, and make the necessary change required for them to move to their next level. Thank you so much, Dr. Wayo, for
Okay.
honoring our invitation. And I hope that when we do call you sometime in the future, you'd oblige us and grace our platform. Thank you. Your voice has indeed created impact. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you
Absolutely.
so
Thank
much. Thank
you
you.
so much.
Really a pleasure being here. I thoroughly enjoyed myself, and I'd say well done for the work you're doing. And thank you for having me. And I really would like to say to everyone that it's not really about being perfect. This talk about work and so on. We have some people that are really workaholics. They work like 14 hours a day. Maybe people like Elon Musk that don't sleep, they'll sleep in the factory, etc. This is not what this is about. Even that, there's a time for working hard like that. Just like you've said, you've not slept for 24 hours, but there's a necessity for the work doing right now. So there's a time for that. But really, it's really about improving what you're doing consistently over and over again. It's like atomic habits, it's like mini habits, just doing something extra more and more and getting better and better and distinguishing yourself in your work. You'll be surprised how far you can go. So I encourage everybody. My book is available. Work like a fool until you know you are wise. Right now, it's available on Seller if you want an electronic copy. If you want hard copies, you can contact me, and we'll see how we can get them delivered to you. It'll be on Amazon either by the end of the week or the following week, God willing. So, but feel free to just delve in. It's a wonderful read. And also my other book too, Born on a Monday, is also available, even though it's not yet on Amazon, but we're working on that also. And
Please.
feel free
Can't wait
to,
to have it on Amazon. All right.
yeah, thank you.
Guys, please check out
Thank you
the
so
book.
much.
We're going to keep an eye out for when it's out on Amazon so we can share with our international communities. But if you're in
Yeah,
Nigeria, you can get the e-copy. Even if you're outside of Nigeria, you can get the e-copy via Seller. Work like a
yes.
fool until they know you are wise. I love, 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 love it. So please check it out. Thank you everyone who has joined us today. I see you, you're being I think your family, your being Wire is here. Suzanne Goshman, I see you
Wonderful.
on YouTube. Thank you so
Those are
much.
my
We have
sisters. Oh, that's
that's your
fantastic. Those are
sisters.
my
Love it.
younger sisters. Yeah, fantastic.
Love, love, love it. We have a couple of people
Thank you.
on Instagram as well. Thank you, Rasleon, Sarah, Nakisha, Sylvia, Taiwo, Brittany, Victor. Couple of people joined us on Instagram as well as on YouTube. I'm sure that a couple of people are also on LinkedIn. So wherever you're watching this, thank you for watching. Please watch the replay. For those of you who joined us halfway, the full video is going to be on our YouTube channel, so you can go back there and rewatch it. Like, this episode is so packed, and you get something good. Like, you get a good juice from this conversation. So thank you for joining us today. Until we come your way again with another episode on Your Voice, Your Impact. Remember, you have a voice. You do. You do. Don't discount it. Use it. Create impact. And we will see you in our next episode. God bless you. Bye bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.